to deep cover point, but there's a very good over for India. It only goes for 4, 69 for 1. Kuldeep will have to go the journey at some point. Australia's run rate dips back down to 9.8. The required rate back up to 10.5. Changes so quickly in the course of a good over or a quiet over for the batting side. David Warner, the man out. Could be his last innings for Australia. He was caught at slip from Arshdeep Singh by Surya Kumar Yadav for 6. Got a bottom edge past the keeper to the boundary for 4, and then caught in the one-man cordon. 69 for 1, the score. If Australia lose today and Afghanistan do the business tonight, that'll be it for David Warner as an Australian player. Some will be sorry to see him go, some won't. Stephen Finn's back with me. Jeff Lemon with you. Test match special and ABC Sport. We've got the start of a new over, head backing away and carving Hardik Pandya out to the deep cover boundary for a couple. 71 for 1 in the 8th over. Hello, Steve.
Hello, Jeff. Hasn't this been fun to watch? You thought that Australia were faltering, and then Travis Head hit those boundaries off Bumrah, which has been scarcely seen in this World Cup, and it seemed to change the tide, didn't it, a little bit? You do just feel that Kuldeep Yadav may have the biggest say today for India, with Australia trying to make up the runs they can't get off him at the other end.
Pandya up to Head, who backs away and slaps him with a cross bat back over the bowler's head for 4. That was agricultural but effective. Step to the leg side, got down on one knee, and he used the angled bat smear to hit it straight. 75 for 1. Travis Head up to 33.
Yeah, Australia going about this nicely. They're recognising the areas that they want to target. It's not really reckless slogging. There's some degree of control in the shots that they've played. There have been a couple of monster sixes. And just always keeping that pressure on India, reminding them of that World Cup final.
Those memories will be there.
Yep, certainly will.
They won't be bubbling to the surface yet, but put another, well, another 50 runs on this they might. But the wicket could come at any time. Pandya up to Head, who pulls him over the leg side for 6. I've got a deep mid-wicket out there, but it goes right over his head. 81 for 1. Travis Head up to 39. And he's doing what he did in the IPL, going at a strike rate of 229. 39 off 17 balls. And Hardik got pumped in his first over. So far in his second, the same is happening. He's gone for 12 from 3 balls.
Yeah, he's getting some treatment, isn't he, at the moment? 29 from 9 deliveries. Travis Head taking a real liking to him. It also does mean that Australia they don't want to be circumspect against Kuldeep Yadav, because if the ball's there, you have to whack it. But it does just mean that they don't need to take those unnecessary risks at the other end if they can keep scoring as they are against Hardik Pandya.
Tap of the bat, Rohit Sharma has come across from cover to speak to his bowler. He's now coming in to try again to Head, who tees off this time. It's in the air, it's hanging there for a while, and Rohit can't get back from cover in time to take the catch. It did taunt him. It just gave him the thought that he might get there. Tim David might have got there. Rohit Sharma not quite so long-legged and not quite so balanced in terms of proportion. 82 for 1 is the score, with 1 run added to Travis Head's tally. He's got 40.
It's interesting they've gone for another over of Pandya when you've got Jadeja out there yet to bowl, especially when Head seemed to take a liking to him. Clearly, left arm spin is into the swinging arc of a left-handed batter, but you'd think Jadeja has the experience and the skill to be able to coax a bad shot out of Travis Head.
One thing that Ravindra Jadeja is good at is taking Australian wickets. He's been a real thorn in the side of Australian teams for well over a decade now. Nearly 100 test wickets against them. Hardik Pandya bowls to Marsh, short down the leg side. The umpire doesn't call it wide because Marsh shifted across a little bit and shaped a pull, and the umpire saying, well, that would have hit you in your original position. So a dot ball.
Yeah, just over his left shoulder. That's an off-cutter slur ball from Pandya. All the pace of the delivery taking out by the surface where it stops in it and just kicks and bounces slightly.
Pandya, one to come in the 8th over. Mitchell Marsh, tall, broad-shouldered, tries a pull shot, doesn't time it, down to long on for a single. He'll keep the strike, so Marsh has found it a little more difficult to time the ball today. He has hit a couple of sixes, but he seemed to be using more power than timing. Travis Head's been timing it beautifully for the most part. 83 for 1 after 8 overs for Australia. That means they're going at 10.38 an over so far, which means they're just ahead of the original required rate. They're doing it okay, but they've got 3 more overs of Kuldeep Yadav to contend with. He will spin, such a rare thing in international cricket. So few purveyors of it at the highest level, and so few that last. You see a few who come in, someone like Sandakan, who came in for Sri Lanka in 2016 and took a lot of wickets for a short period of time, but then disappeared pretty quickly. Brad Hogg kicked around for Australia for a while, but often as a reserve player. Kuldeep bowls looping full in at the toes of Marsh, and he's being called through for a single. Again, that looked like the kind of ball that, if it were 10 overs later, he'd be clobbering that over long on, but they're just not confident against Kuldeep.
Yeah, he's shaped up as if he's going to play a big sweep, a big slog sweep at that one, but then just jammed his bat down at the last second.
I would have thought he could hit that straight. It looked full enough that he could just play through the line of that.
The thing is, he gets nice dip Kuldeep Yadav, so you think it's there and then all of a sudden it's not. That's one of his great skills.
Well, he's got the left-hander now with a slip in place. Kuldeep backing away his head, cutting the ball out to deep point. They've got coverage out there, so only a single. 85 for 1, head to 41. Marsh back on strike on 36. Just feels like this is the contest where something's going to happen.
Yeah, and Rohit Sharma keeping a slip in place, which is interesting. We've not seen too much turn today from any of the spin bowlers, but opting to keep the slip in place as an aggressive wicket-taking option.
Kuldeep, left arm over Marsh, big slog across the line, misses completely as that ball goes across him. There's a shout for a stumping as well. India don't seem too interested in it. That was more just Rishabh Pant wanting to warm up the vocal cords.
He's annihilated the stumps there as well.
TV umpire to director. We have an umpire review for a stumping. I've checked
Stumps
the
are being repaired.
It's a fair delivery.
It's a good piece of bowling. Looped, went a long way across Marsh, so he was trying to slog sweep it, but the angle was too steep. He's got his back toe firmly planted in the crease. I'm not sure why you bother appealing for that, honestly.
Wicket is broken, so I'm ready for my decision on the big screen.
So not out, but Kuldeep. He's all over Mitchell Marsh at the moment, and Mitch Marsh has one option, and that's the sweep, and it's not working for him.
He's bowling it slower and wider as well. Kuldeep.
Up to Marsh, slow and wide again, and Marsh drags it to the leg side. He'll only get a single out to a wide long on. But interesting that he's choosing to go that way when he is so strong through the offside. You wonder if he couldn't do better if he just tried to cut those balls or even drive them.
Maybe use his reach, yeah, and hit it up over extra.
So 3 out on the leg side for Travis Head. It's 86 for 1. 3 singles off the Kuldeep over. Bowls to Head, very wide of the off stump. Cut hard. They've got protection in the deep, and Australia don't want to push for the second at this point. With deep backward point getting around to field. It's 87 for 1.
It's the sort of ball that in a test match we'd be sat here saying that's an absolute pie. It's short, wide, very wide outside the off stump, spinning away from Head. An easy cut, but it just means there's no opportunity to play a slog sweep.
Kuldeep to Marsh, who goes back, does play the slog sweep, and he could be caught. Has he been held brilliantly? A deep backward square leg. That is unbelievable from Akshar Patel. That ball was going like a shell. Over his head, flat, fast. He's got up, he's got both hands to it, and he's taken it tumbling back just inside the rope. That is outstanding.
That is quite remarkable. That catch is fully stretched out above his head. We felt as though something was going to give between Marsh and Kuldeep. It was back of a length, so he's rocked back onto the back foot and pulled it hard and flat. He's caught it one-handed. Jumping directly up, as if he's at the tip-off of a basketball court. And just in the fingertips of his right hand, as he stretches over the top of his head, he manages to grasp onto that ball. And then as he comes down and his back hits the ground, he's grasping it strongly enough for it not to pop out. And he's mobbed by his teammates. He even got Rohit Sharma sprinting towards him, which doesn't happen all that often after wickets are taken. That's a remarkable catch and the breakthrough that India wanted and needed.
Goodness me. The last ball of the 9th over. Marsh out for 37 from 28. Australia 87 for 2. And when you see great catches, you often think of the diving ones, diving to one side, diving forward, running in. But this was above his head. It was off the ground. And it was going so flat. He had no time to see the ball go up and try to gauge where it would drop, position himself under it. This was purely reflex. It would have gone for 6 had he not got that one hand in the way. And it was travelling. And Marsh on the pull shot can be a powerful thing. And somehow Akshar has got it flush in the meat of his palm and the fingers have clamped around it. And he's held onto the one-hander. And is extraordinary and the kind of thing that can turn matches. Glenn Maxwell is the kind of thing that can turn matches as well. He's out there now. He'll be at the non-striker's end. Travis Head on 42 off 20, so Australia still in this. Head who goes back, thrashes a drive into the offside, but it's well stopped on the bounce at cover. That was heading boundarywards, but Rohit Sharma, he is pumped up today, the Indian captain, and he held himself across to his right, held it on the bounce. No run.
Yeah, you can rarely read Rohit Sharma's face or his emotions. He does certainly look fired up today.
Rishabh Pant waving his hands around a bit at deep point. Pandya to Head, who bails out of a pull shot. It was a slower ball bouncer and it was just outside the off stump, a decent line. It would have made Head have to drag it to the leg side, and he decides that's a bit too risky for me at this stage of the innings. Going nicely, remains on 46 off 23. Required rate creeping up to 11. Three balls to come in the Hardik Pandya over. You can hear Travis Head tapping his bat with the bowler at the top of his mark and then waiting with the bat raised and driving into the onside, down to long on the bounce. It's fumbled through for a boundary. Goodness me. That was rudimentary stuff. Akshar Patel, who's just taken an all-time screamer in the previous over, gets a ball on the bounce, maybe a bit of spin on it, but he just lets a simple volley, half volley, go through for 4. Strange. 95 for 2. Heads, Brad's raced his 50 from 24 balls. Didn't notice that because we were looking at the misfield.
It's chalk and cheese, those two bits of fielding, one over apart. Scream of a catch and then a schoolboy misfield at long on gives Travis Head his 50.
6 4s, 3 6s off those 24 balls. Hardik to Head, who backs away, guides the ball through the cordon and down to deep third for another 4. So Travis Head doing it beautifully so far. 3 more boundaries off this over, 1 ball to come of it. Hardik has gone for 43 from 17 deliveries. Well, if he bowls his 4th after this, it'll be one of the more memorable spells. 99 for 2 is the score with that boundary. Head up to 54.
He was screaming at his two fielders. Behind point there's a backward point and a short third. He's pierced the gap. It was lovely placement from Travis Head. I don't think either of them could have cut that off, but Hardik Pandya screaming at them both for not putting in a dive at least.
Well, he might want to look at where he's bowling the ball before he starts doing that. He's up to Head, who throws the kitchen sink at it outside the off stump and misses. And that is the Travis Head way. 6 balls, 3 boundaries, 3 dots, misses that one. We're at the halfway mark. Drinks coming onto the field, the team's gathering, the helmet's off for Head and Maxwell, who hasn't faced a ball, but a lot will be required of him across these final 10 overs, particularly the 2 overs from Kuldeep Yadav. Maxwell's had his struggles against left arm wrist spin. 99 you need 107 further, so they need 206 to win, which means they need 10.7 and over for here, and they're currently going at just under 10, so they're broadly up with the rate. but they've got a lot of work to do in the back 10 to try to stay in this tournament. Their T20 World Cup campaign is on the line. 99 for 2 after 10. Stephen Finn about to be joined by Henry Moran.
Cheers, Jeff. Yeah, we've got a game on our hands here. That's in the first 2 overs of this Australia innings. They were 8 for 1. You thought as though it might be a foregone conclusion. Both batters thrashing around, but Travis Head has played a very, very good innings here. 54 from 26, 3 sixes and 7 fours, and the fact that he's scored such weight of runs in boundaries, that signifies that in between that there's not been too much. It's been boundaries and the odd single, but he's certainly putting Australia on course to challenge for this game. India are going to have to be on their guard here and continue to look to take wickets to win it from here.
They are, and the big wicket is that of Travis Head, as it was on November 19th in Ahmedabad when he played that quite sumptuous knock, just falling short of getting them over the line himself. That was left to the man out there joining him, Glenn Maxwell, to hit the winning runs. It was an innings that silenced 1.6 billion. Remarkable day, it really was. Smaller crowd here today, but no less enthusiastic. 99 for 2 is the Australia score. They need 107 from 60 deliveries as the ground staff head off the field for the final time during this World Cup here in St Lucia, the St Lucia leg, which has been highly entertaining, not least because the surfaces have been really good for batting, so it's given us something a little bit different from what has been primarily quite a bowler-friendly World Cup, really.
Yeah, I was concerned actually about this pitch when we saw how it played between England and South Africa here the other day, this exact pitch. I thought it might be slow and stoppy and produce a bit of a stodgy affair, but whatever the groundsman has done in between games, it's worked because both teams travelling at around 10 and over for the entirety of this game. It's proved entertaining. It makes me glad that I'm sat up here and not having to bowl anymore.
Well, indeed, because it's looked quite hard work out there, let's be honest. 99 for 2, with Maxwell facing his first ball. Glenn Maxwell, who was really the only Australian batter to come out of the game against Afghanistan with any credit, faces Ravi Jadeja, and he's deep in the crease, angling the ball. Oh, past the dive, and that should have been stopped. The ball's going to go to the boundary.